Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of Making Fakemon for my Southern California region named the Dago region. Today I'll be showing 3 lines with 3 evolutions each for the next route in the Pokemon region. Sorry if it took a while for this one to come out. I did switch computers and it took me a while to get used to this new one. But with that being said, let's start off with the regional bird. So in Southern California, we're no stranger to large mountains in the area. And one of the most popular birds that we have here is the red-tailed hawk. Now, little known fact, the classic eagle screech is actually the sound of a red-tailed hawk. So I wanted to kind of pay homage to this with this next this Pokemon line I'm showing. And so we start off with our first Pokemon, Pebbird, the pebble bird Pokemon, a rock type. Pebbird flock in groups of 2, looking for rocks to make their nests. They tumble down mountains to help chisel their hard bodies. Now this Pokemon is really dumb looking. Design wise, I wanted it to be very round, very smooth, very cute, the single stage starter, but it's also dumb. There's a lot of Pokemon that are just circles, but this one's just like a rock, which I think is funny. Our next evolution is Climbbird, the rock bird Pokemon, a rock flying type. Climbbird will do whatever it takes to refine their feathers. They will even have other Climbbird chisel away using their beaks. However, this could lead to infighting that could harm 2 Climbbirds with 1 stone. Alright guys, I gotta be honest. Making these freaking birds is hard, alright? It's weird to make a bird Pokemon without it, being actual birds like, the original game. You have Starly, you got the Pidgey, they're actual birds. So like when I was drawing these up, I was like, what can I give them features to make them less bird but more monster? But like, I still kind of want them to be like a bird. And so I tried my best with this next evolution, the last one, Cliffhawk, the rock hawk Pokemon, a rock flying type. Cliffhawk will show off their crest in order to attract a mate. The more refined the crest, the more likely they will succeed. So I kind of mixed it, with a bald eagle and a red-tailed hawk because, about the iconic squaw thing. And I added like a pterodactyl crest to make it more monstrous, made out of rock. It's very armored, and the talons are meant to resemble like climbing gear, like big picks that climbers will use to scale mountains. San Diego has like an average rock climbing community, but what I'm really focusing here is the animal, really, is the freaking bird, alright? And due to me switching computers, I actually don't have the sketch art for this one, so wah. But I can tell you, nothing really changed with the beginning and the final sketches of this Pokemon. Hell, I might go over it later. This is one of the ones that I have in my mind later, this entire line. Maybe not Pebbird, because I like Pebbird, that one's funny. But definitely maybe the middle stage and the last stage. Alright, history time. So as you know, Southern California was colonized by Spain. And what the Spaniards did is that they set up missions in California that converted the people into Christianity. I made a Pokemon off of this concept. And I mixed it with a geological phenomenon called the Saline Stones. Now in Death Valley, there are these rocks that often have trails behind them. This was a mystery for decades, and only recently have scientists found out what was actually happening. During the winter, a thin layer of ice would freeze over the land, and due to the lack of friction, the wind would often push rocks slowly and cause a trail. And these dudes would move really slow, like 2 to 6 meters per minute, which is why it actually hasn't been discovered until recently. And so I figured out that I would make these 2 concepts to make a unique typing that hasn't been seen before. So here's our first Pokemon, Brickle, the stone Pokemon, a rock type. Brickle are seen gliding across the vast desert of the Dago region. There are fables on the smooth tracks these Pokemon leave behind when sailing. Now, I'm pretty sure this classifies as an Objectmon, where it's literally just a rock, right? Like the last Pokemon with a bird rock, this one's just like a regular rock. So, a lot of the design inspirations is kind of carrying this one. If you don't think rocks are cool, I think rocks are cool, but yeah, there would be some people that just don't like rocks. And that leads into our next evolution, Waltask, the colonial Pokemon, a rock ghost type. When sailing the vast desert, Waltask will assimilate to Brickle into their body. The energy it emits make Brickle easily influenced to the Waltask's assimilation. So, rock ghost, something we haven't seen before. And it's yeah, it turned into a wall. There's a lot of similarities with this Pokemon line and Stakataka, with each brick being its own like organism. But I figured that I'd make it different from Stakataka by making it pick up the organisms as it goes along, and it actually having to find the Brickle throughout the land. It literally is colonizing colonizing the land it goes across by making it part of itself. And our last stage, Mission, the colonizing Pokemon, a rock ghost type. Its ability is Conquest. It stops its speed stat from lowering. It is unknown how many Brickle make up one mission, as most of it is hidden underground. It will seek tirelessly to add more Brickle to itself at tremendous speeds. So this is also based off of like sand ships. You know, ships that are always found underground, mysteriously. And its design is heavily based off of the first mission in California, the Mission Basilica San Diego de Acala, with its iconic bell tower at the top. So it kind of turned into the boat because, you know, the whole concept of Spain coming to Southern California and colonizing, it being a boat, being a mission, and the sailing stone concept. I thought it worked all really well together. And ghost ships are a common trend in media, and so I thought this was just a fun Pokemon for me to design. I really like this line. Alright, so we've seen two rock types right now, so let's change it up with a psychic. Now, admittedly, there isn't really a big tarot scene in SoCal, but this one is mainly just for me. I like tarot reading. I made my own tarot cards featuring my friends, and I just wanted to do a tarot Pokemon, and this will take place the iconic, you know, female psychic type of a lot of Pokemon regions, mainly like Gothitelle, Gardevoir, and Hatterene, and such. So this will kind of play into that like that design philosophy. So here we have Terrotini, the card Pokemon, a psychic type. The card Terrotini sits on changes based on its emotion that it will feel in the near future. It is impossible to tell what emotion it is feeling in the current moment. This is a freaky Pokemon. It's also based off of palm readings. That's why it's like a giant hand, or not really a giant hand. It's actually a human-sized hand. And more often than not in fiction, there's always like an eye in like a character's hand if you're psychic. You know, like that one boss fight from Mario 64. But it looks kind of cute. As it grows in the next stages, it really feels like a first one. So, and I like the shiny design that I gave it, being a sepia tone with the only pop of color deviating from the monochromatic color scheme being the pink eye. And so we move on to the next evolution. Minai, the card Pokemon, a psychic dark type. There are old tales of Minai telling fortunes to trainers based on the two cards it has. Apparently, one of the cards is always false and the other is always true. So design-wise, it's really freaking weird, right? The hand is sort of like hair now, and the two front quote-unquote arms are fingers. It also gains this like headpiece that it has floating around behind it, kind of symbolizing like just a general big psychic symbol. And lastly, we have Motaro, the Foresight Pokemon, a psychic dark type. Its ability is divination. It prevents all moves from being used twice in a row. Many actions of the Motaros seem unorthodox to many trainers, but only a strong bond with this Pokemon will let a trainer understand that it is constantly changing the future. With its future sight, it allows it to see its trainer's future, but none knows whether it changes it for the better or for worse. Now, when designing this Pokemon, it was kind of hard for me. Like, I had Gardevoir as a huge base. The hand, its lower body is very much based on the dress that it has, and actually originally had a much bigger like dress element instead of a big hand. But design-wise, I feel like it does like a cool job being like but basically a feminine psychic type, like a lot of the regions do, as I said before, while still keeping like a weird monstery feel that they have. I can see it like crawling around like a spider with the fingers, and the hands actually resemble a pose from my favorite, one of my favorite games, Fear and Hunger Termina, which is a battle stance used by a magic user. And this is definitely the ace of the psychic type gym leader in the region. And you know, I already have designs for the gym leaders, so look forward to that for a future video. Woohoo! I feel like divination is one of the more balanced abilities that I made. It's just more interesting to battle without move spam, in my opinion. And so here's the concept art. Whoa, it's on paper again. You can see like Terratini, say cross-legged, like a kind of like Kadabra or like Abra or Kadabra, but I kind of just had it like have stubby little finger legs. Originally, Mina had like 4 arms, but that didn't really work well with like the hand thing I was going for. Way more abstract and creepy in the original one. And I don't have a sketch for Motaro because that one just kind of came naturally while I was drawing it. Of course, the name being Eeny Meeny, there's no Miny, but there is a Mo. And the dark type, why he gains it, I mean, if you know the origins of that freaking Eeny Meeny Miny Mo, it's bad. Let's just say they weren't catching tigers. So all in all, here's the 3 Pokemon that I made for you this episode. Very happy with them. Maybe not the bird ones. Maybe I'll like go back and tweak, but I feel like they're good of what they represent. And for the next episode, I'll be doing regional variants and convergent evolutions for this region, and I'm very excited to show you guys what I got cooking. So yeah, thanks for watching.